Today's question is, men of Reddit, what are the struggles of dating a very rich girl?
Let me tell a story that I think will provide a nice contrast to the majority of the comments here. This story isn't mine, but that of a close friend's brother. So Joe went away to college and met Sarah there halfway through freshman year. They were on again off again for a few months before deciding to date seriously in junior year. They met each other's families on vacation or when they would come to visit their kids at school. By all accounts, Sarah's family was polite and nice and relatively laid back. Not a whiff of arrogance or anything like that. Fast forward to the end of senior year. Joe's paternal grandfather is on his deathbed and Joe desperately wants to go say goodbye. However, they go to school in a small town with a private airport, think Cessnas, and the closest major airport is several hours away by car, and neither of them have a car. Said airport also didn't have a direct flight, so it would have been pushing 24 hours until he got to the hospice center to see his grandfather. This was destroying Joe, as he and Grandpa were very close, and he was essentially a second father to him. Without a word, Sarah pulled Joe into a cab and took him to the airport. Waiting for them was Sarah's family's private plane. Joe and my friend and her family were all astounded. They had no idea Sarah's family was wealthy, and especially not private plane wealthy. Anyways, off Joe went and he said goodbye and he flew coach back to school. Sarah never said a word about it one way or the other, and neither did Joe. They are now married and both doing well in their careers, and from what I can tell live a very normal life. But every once in a while they disappear off to some remote island or jungle or mountain for a few days a year and don't tell anyone but their family where they're going. I lived in a pretty rich area of the Bay Area. My GF at the time was very rich for this already wealthy area, but she truly had no concept of money. Her budget was $12,000 a month. Her family bought her a brand new Porsche because her car was 5-year-old BMW M5. It was honestly like dating an alien. Any issues I had in everyday life were just so far out of her life experience. I guess I had a different type than everyone else. We worked together, and you wouldn't know she was rich unless you really got to know her. She worked as a diversion, something to do and meet new people. She never looked at the price of anything, had a $5,000 watch, Dolce & Gabbana glasses she would break at least once a month cause she's clumsy. Very humble, very sweet, and probably the hardest worker there. We were managers. The issue was that there was absolutely nothing we could do together that was new to her. She had more money and free time. Her bucket list was completed by 22. There was nothing new or fresh within my, I don't know the word, realm? Ability? We got along great, and I found out from a mutual friend she was excited to be with someone not using her or groveling cause she was fuck you levels of rich. It was my pride I think that ruined it, nothing she did. I had issues letting her pay for everything, and I was unable to show her anything she hadn't seen. I stopped being fun because I couldn't wow or impress her, and it got in my head. She was perfectly happy doing normal things, but it wasn't enough for me. I had to impress her. We lost contact years ago. I hope she's doing well. She was fucking awesome and deserves to be happy. My wife is very well off. She is a super successful doctor. She makes enough money that I don't have to work. When we started dating, I was a single father living in my parents' basement. I can say this with all honesty. If she is a good person, her money doesn't matter. The people with bad experiences didn't have bad experiences with rich women. They had bad experiences with shitty people who happened to be rich. My wife was amazing, never made me feel bad, supported me, helped me find a career I flourished and succeeded at. Her money has never been an issue in any way. She is my best friend and the struggles are as such. I get to fly first class to amazing places and stay in swanky hotels. I get to make dinner and pack lunches for her for work as she works crazy hours sometimes. I get to use that time to do tons of gaming and playing with my kid. We bought a huge, awesome acreage, and I'll be retiring before 40 to take care of the property, her and my son. Her family is kind and loving and hilarious, super welcoming, and love my son like one of their own. They love how happy I make her and how much I take care of her. There's never been a single thing other than normal relationship fights we all occasionally have. Oh, there is one thing. She often forgets I don't make the same amount of money, so when I bought a new vehicle she wanted us to go buy a fancy thing, and I wanted to buy my own vehicle that was economical and probably used. We compromised and bought a new but not flashy truck. Also, she will spend more on a purse than I would for a used car, and I can't for the life of me wrap my head around it. But I grew up dirt poor, like no toys and spam poor, so we just grew up in different worlds. Anyways, all this babbling to say if she is a good person raised by good people, and he or she isn't an insecure child. There are no issues, only delightful perks you never expected. I have a thing for strong women, so her making so much more money than me never bugged me. I'm just very proud of her and her passion and ambition, and that she chose me. I often joke I'm living every 1960s girl's dream. She often jokes that she worked this hard so she could marry poor, if that's what she fell in love with. Not the man, but the rich girl. I hope you guys are interested in my story. I come from a family who built their way in the world and got very wealthy. Growing up, my parents had me and my sister working regular jobs so we would learn the value of money. It worked. Back then, I was not allowed to date anyone until I was 18. Not that I ever cared, because I was a nerd and preferred my video games to real people. When I got older and nature decided to kick in, I was starting college and I met a guy. He was very handsome and did not seem to care who my family was. I was pleased because most people would fake to be my friends because of my background. That lasted until I met his parents. He was from a lower middle class family and his parents were all about the "what are the neighbors going to think?" mindset. They are so excited about me that they started being so weird, buying a Mercedes that they could not afford, buy nice clothes, expensive wines. The guy just got terrible after a few years. We moved together in a very nice downtown condo, and he went mad. He loaded his credit card to buy expensive watches, suits, shoes. My dad got him a job in a good company, and I guess he thought he was a big shot now. I left him about 6 months later because he was trying to change me into a trophy wife. He was getting upset if I did not have makeup on or if I was gaming in my PJs all day/night because, you know, if someone would have knocked the door and I was dressed like that, what would they have thought? When I left, I was still paying for the condo he was living in. His parents were harassing me about their son's future and trying to manipulate me into going back. I am not that stupid. I tried to get him to buy me out of the condo. He did not want to. We got into a massive legal fight. It was terrible. I have other stories if you're interested. Sorry for the English, not my first language. I dated several. The worst part was being rejected by her dad as an unserious boyfriend. One who I dated had a father who was one of the most successful bankers on Wall Street. Crazy money. Like $100 million per year money. I never knew what really rich was until the elevator opened into a 2-story apartment on Park Avenue with a sweeping grand stairway, balconies that wrapped all the way around the building on both floors, and art that should have been at the Louvre. That kind of rich. Her dad pulled me aside on our 3rd date and pretty much told me I was not a real candidate for her and that she would only marry someone suitable. That if I was looking to climb the social ladder by dating her, it would backfire. He would make sure of it. It's the only time I ever talked to him. The second one made her look poor. She literally lived in a castle and had access to family houses/jets/islands all over the world. Yes, they own private islands. The worst part, literally nothing I could do could be special. She was cool about it and always told me to save my money and not to take her to restaurants. She said on my budget, she wouldn't even enjoy it. She would rather just have takeout at home. It was said kindly and with real care that I did not blow money on her, but there was no getting around it. I couldn't ever be the guy who could sweep her off her feet. On Valentine's Day, her former boyfriend had sent her 20 dozen long-stem red roses. No hotel in my budget could match what she was used to. Peninsula, one and only, Ritz-Carlton, Plaza Athene. Couldn't buy her clothes, obviously. As much as she really tried to be cool about it and say that it didn't matter, it did. It just did. I also realized that if we ever got serious, I would probably just go to work with something related to the family and never be my own man. Even as an older guy now, I look back and realize that the emotional barrier that disparity in wealth created was vast, and we would have been set up to fail. And this is the end of today's video. I hope you liked it, and don't forget to comment an anecdote or experience similar to the topic of the video. Leave your like, share if you liked the video, and lastly, don't forget to activate the little bell so you don't miss any of our daily videos. Bye-bye.